Hey YouTube, what's up? Scarecrow here. I'm here today to, now that a little more time has passed, give you guys a revisited update on my Luard deck post set 14. So, more time has passed. I've gotten even more playtesting and tournament play and stuff in with all my decks. So I'll let you see how this deck has changed to get a little bit more refined since you last saw it. So, alright. Starting Vanguard. Still running this Drag Wizard guy. I think he's the best option. He just refunds your costs, gets you a soul back, and gets you a counter charge. He's pretty easy to set up for. A good card. Triggers is pretty much the same, or exactly the same. 4 Belial, and 2 more crit for 6, followed by 4 Raven, and 2 Mage for 6 stand. 6 and 6 I like in this deck. The stands are really good. They have on your Dragobus plays, and they are really good effects wise, like really good skills. Raven, like, we already understand why this is a good card. In Shadows, recycles itself, gives you stride fodder, thins the deck. This guy is good in the sense that he counts as 2 retires, so he makes for an easy cost, and he goes back to the deck. And, like to say, one of this deck's first matchups being, like, Link Joker. Just leaving you 1 spot, you can call out this card, and he'll give you 2 spots out of it, so like still pretty good. Yeah. And then last we have our 4 heals, which is helpful for the counter charge and soul charge. For our grade 1s, playing 2 of Mouth? I don't know, whatever this owl's name is. This card is actually cool. What makes him good is he's not Generation Break, and he's only Ritual 1, so you just have 1 grade 1 on the drop, and that means he's a 11k attacker, which is good. You can use him early game, which is the main point of him, to get in there and start swinging at things. Yeah, and even late game, he's an 11, so he's never a bad number. So, next I'm playing 1 Swordbreaker. I'm just playing 1 of it because I don't want to draw it, and usually at once just fine. Even if I do draw it, it's not the end of the world. I am not running, what's her face? This chick. I cut her because I don't always first stride a Ritual Vanguard, and she needs you to have that. Really only there's like, the differences is the 1k difference, and the other one has Ritual, so you can discard it for things, but I'm fine with just the 1 Swordbreaker. It's working great for me. Next, for Esra, because it's one of the best PGs in the game. Arguably, maybe you can argue it's the best, but really good. Then we got, for Famnak, I think you say your name. This card is amazing. If you're not playing 4 of it, I don't know what you're doing. It's a 14k grade 1 with resist. If you team it with another grade 1 that's 7k, that's 21. And early game you can just discard her and draw by resting like your starter. She is super good. And then last we got our 4 Bissell Owl. It's 15 ones. For the grade 2s, we're playing 4 Ganon, and she's pretty much the same thing. 2 Neman. So this is our early game grade 2 part. We drop these cards early game, get card advantage, build up our Ritual faster, so that by the time we ride to grade 3, we've already gotten Ritual. Yeah, it's pretty good, and speeds up the deck, makes it more consistent. Yeah, it's good. Grade 2s, playing 4 Slaptail and 1 Morfessa. They both can be grade 1s in the drop. Really, that's the best thing about Morfessa, is that she's a grade 1 in the drop. she's kind of a beat stick, but then again, like everything in this deck kind of turns into a beat stick. And her on-hit skill is okay, but not that great. Slaptail's just better than her. But mostly the most useful thing about these two is that they're grade 1s in the drop. And then last for the grade 2s, playing 2 Dagda. I would like to play more of this card so I could see it more often, because he's a very strong card on your Dragobus turns. But the deck is kind of counterblast heavy, and he is a counterblast, and then the other cards in the deck of the grade 2 lineup speed the deck up and make the deck function consistently. And you usually can see this card like once a game, maybe twice anyways, because the deck filters and draws heavy. But wish there was more room, but there isn't. And then for the grade 3s, I'm playing 4 Dragfall and 1 Dragheart. 5 grade 3s is working pretty okay. There's enough draw power and search power between Abyssal and the grade 2s that draw that I usually can get to my grade 3, even though I'm playing 5. And once you get to grade 3, you have Ritual active and you don't really need any more for stride cost. So then for the grade 4s, Seabreeze, okay, Seabreeze, 1 Aura Geyser and 1 Doomed. Doomed is normally my first stride. I usually first stride him, go get Swordbreaker, make some free floaters, retire them, kill stuff, draw. I prefer striding him over Dragobus because it builds up more hand going into him first, and then it saves your GB3 of your Dragobus so that you can use it, like go into Dragobus twice having the GB3 active, or more if you just don't use his effect to call cards. You can just call him and use his GB3 and stride him multiple times. But yeah, I prefer going Doom first. Then next, we got our 4 Dragobus. Our main stride of this deck now. Builds field, can pop the opponent's field, but most importantly, his GB3 makes your field enormous and then beats down the opponent. It's a very good card. 1 Drag Strider. Don't use this card very much anymore. It is there. Sometimes I use it. Sometimes it's like the perfect situation. But I don't use it that often because it's, as I said, usually use it for the perfect situation. Playing 4 Phantom Blasters. This is in here mostly. Well, I would no matter what be playing 2 of this just because like it's good and your opponent has to play around it. And if they don't, you can catch them. It like auto wins you the game against Gize, pretty much. But against like Link Joker, which is like this deck's like worst matchup, if nothing else, because you won't have other rear guards, this guy can be a 36 crit. So it's at least like about as good as you can get in this deck when you don't have rear guards. And you can actually catch them if they can't, like if they leave you even 2 spots open, you can stride, go get your stand trigger, and now you have 3 rear guard spots open, so that can use his guard restrict swing. So, and then our last G unit is Ultima, because it's really good. It's a Z-Rare. Put them in almost every deck that can play them, and in this deck it's really easy to use because of Dragfall. And then for our G-Guards, 1 Bernac, she gets Ritual and dumps, usually she dumps me Esros actually. 1 Dark Veil Dragon. This card can be a very big shield. It has a Soul Blast for a cost, which can be tricky. But if you're using your G-Guards and you've got a second one in the drop now, you can just Soul Charge and Soul Blast that Soul Charge you just got. So it works out pretty okay most of the time. And then 2 Plot Makers, because big easy shield without a cost. And that is that. Thank you guys for watching.